It's Emily here with Splash Pool and Spa, and I am joined by Ashley Niffenegger, the retail manager here at our location on Center Point Road in Cedar Rapids. We're bringing you another episode of Splashy Segments, and we're talking about another one of those critical kind of metrics to pay attention to when balancing your water. What are we talking about today, Ash?
Alkalinity.
Talking about alkalinity. Okay, so why is alkalinity important in keeping your water balanced?
Yeah, alkalinity is important because it really is a buffer for your pH. We are going to talk about pH in a later segment, so make sure you watch that one as well.
Spoiler.
But yeah, I mean, you can't have one without the other.
Got it. Now, what is the ideal measurement or parameters that someone wants to see when testing for alkalinity in their water?
Yeah, you're going to want it between 80 and 120 parts per million. You should be able to see that on pretty much any test strip. It will show you those parameters, but in case you don't see it on there, that's what you need, 80 to 120.
80 to 120. All right, now, if you happen to test your water and alkalinity is running low, what are some of the side effects from that?
Yep, you can have like a pH bounce where your pH is all over the place. There's no rhyme or reason. It's kind of hard to control. Yeah, hard to control. Seems like, you're doing everything you're supposed to be, but it's not reacting the way you want it to be.
Okay, anything else other than the pH bounce?
Yep, you could have some etching in your surfaces of your spa or pool. There are a couple more.
I think you mentioned like staining.
Staining and heater failure are pretty critical. Obviously, you want.
Anytime we talk about equipment failing.
Yeah, you always want your stuff to last, right? So those are important.
So some of the side effects that you might see with low alkalinity. So certainly want to take it seriously. Now on the flip side, what if your alkalinity is running too high?
Yeah, too high, you're gonna have pH lock, pop, lock, and drop.
I feel like it's like a dance move. We got pH bounce, pH lock.
Tune in next week. We might have a dance choreographed. You never know. You might have to come in store to see that one. But yeah, pH lock would be pretty critical. So you're adding chemicals to change that pH, and it's not going anywhere. It's just stuck.
Kind of locked in place.
Yep.
Just like it sounds.
Yeah.
All right. So if your alkalinity is too high, again, since alkalinity and pH are so closely related, you might start to see pH lock. Anything else?
Yep, there is. You can see some issues with clogged filters.
Okay.
That can be kind of nasty. It can look like kind of a cloudy, milky cloud when you go to change your filter. Your water's probably going to be cloudy at that point as well. If your filter's clogged, your water's probably going to be clogged as well.
Okay.
And then quite a bit of scaling in the water.
Got it. So obviously some serious side effects to consider if your alkalinity is low or high, but the good news is we can fix it.
We can fix it.
So if your alkalinity is too low, what would you do to kind of combat that or reverse it?
Yeah, this one's simple. It's an alkalinity increaser. You're gonna increase that 20 parts per million at a time, small doses.
Okay, so this is an actual product.
Correct.
Someone can come in and purchase. You
can get it. I have it.
Alkalinity increaser, small doses, just kind of bring it up incrementally until you get it to that ideal range.
Yep.
Now on the flip side, if you've got too high of alkalinity, what do you do there? Is it an alkalinity decreaser?
It's tricky. There is not an alkalinity decreaser.
Okay.
That
would be too easy.
Too simple. Right. Too simple. So you would actually use a pH decreaser.
Okay, so a little counterintuitive there.
Could be.
There's not a product specifically called alkalinity decreaser. You use pH decreaser.
Correct.
And I'm assuming small doses again?
Small doses, yep.
Okay. Yep. Now here's a question that I think a lot of our viewers might have. If you're using pH decreaser to lower your alkalinity, is that going to lower your pH too?
It could. It could lower that. So you are going to want to make your adjustments to alkalinity, make sure that's in range, and then retest pH and see where you're at. Okay. If you need to increase pH, you can do it 24 hours or so later once everything's kind of leveled out.
I see. So that sounds like that might be why some of that kind of small dose incremental
it's fine-tuning.
Yes, fine-tuning. Perfect word.
Yeah.
Why that is so critical in kind of restabilizing everything.
Absolutely.
Anything else about alkalinity we should talk about?
No, it's just...
We've covered the
good
gamut.
Stuff. Yeah.
All right. Well, don't forget, if you're having any issues with your pool or spa water, we have free water testing here in the store, on the house. Bring in a sample. We'll test it. We'll get you back squared away. We'll tell you what you need. We'll help you out there. We're open Monday through Friday, 10 to 6. and Saturday 10 to 4. Until next time, we'll see you later. Keep it splashy.
Bye.